Welcome back to On Deck Circle Podcast, brought to you by the Fantasy Six Pack. I am your football watching host, Nick Zaniboni, and I'm with Jason, who is also a football watcher. Correct, Jason?
Correct.
So we're going to cut right to it, straight to the cold open question of the week. I want to know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad are the Bears going to be this season? And I'll answer the same thing with my Patriots. So just like a win total. All right? Ready, set, go. All right, Jason. So since we both are on teams in that rebuilding phase, I mean the Bears have been doing it for quite a while.
Yeah.
But I'm more here just for advice because I haven't had to really deal with like this
Yeah.
of bad football. But let's also be clear: both of our teams want to know. Never apologize for winning a game, even if your win was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I may have actually had Titans money line, and I was very upset at Will Levis for just like throwing a ball in the air. And his immediate reaction of just going like this was perfect.
It was epic. So it was a bad game, but as a Chicago Bears fan, we have seen this script many a times before of no offensive touchdowns and still winning the game. This is nothing new to us here in Chicago. Defense and special teams have always ruled the land here. Now, I don't think they were as bad as they were going. They won't be as bad as they were on Sunday. I think there was a lot of nervousness out of Caleb, even though he claimed to never get nervous. I don't know if you guys watched Hard Knocks, but he claimed to never be nervous. He looked extremely nervous. He looked extremely nervous out there, underthrowing balls, things that he was not even doing in the preseason. A lot of jitters. At Soldier Field, we get a flyover on any big important game. So I'm sure the nerves were running high, but hey, didn't turn the ball over. And if Keenan Allen catches that touchdown, that stat line looks 100 times better. No one's even talking about it. So
yeah, I agree.
There was also like 3 or 4 batted balls at the line of scrimmage. So the completion percentage was way down. Not things that he can control, unfortunately. But unfortunately, we have to play Houston on Sunday Night Football. So in Houston. But hey, we'll take it, man. Well, like I said, a win's a win. We're off to a 1-0 start, first time in a while. I think you can only get better at this point, even though we scored 24 points off special teams.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We'll get there. The offense is just too good to not score offensive touchdowns.
Like, is it gonna be like 8 wins?
Yeah, I'd say it's got to be at least 8. We were 7-9 last year with a way worse team. And a way harder schedule last year. So I'm assuming it's going to be at least 8. I'd say football's crazy too. A lot of time, what Caleb probably played like maybe 15, 25 snaps in the preseason. So you're talking about a guy that's not even played 50 snaps in an NFL game. And that goes for all the teams, you know what I mean? Like, you don't really start seeing like really good football until about week 10, unfortunately. I think a lot of players have come out and said, like, retired players. I know Deion Sanders come out and talked about it, how, like, especially defense. So if our defense is playing like that week 1, I mean, look out, NFL, because defenses usually get better as the season goes on. The defense is always,
especially in Chicago.
Yeah. So I'm not too worried about. Again, I shouldn't be worried. They're 1-0. So, how long do you think Brissett is your starting quarterback?
I'm of the belief of he's the starting quarterback until he isn't.
Gotcha.
So, like, I'm a Patriots fan. I did not expect to watch that game on Sunday. I expected to just have the red zone on, but they kept it interesting. And much like you, the Patriots defense is going to be good. Like, no matter what, they have a very talented defense. They just traded their best player on defense, and yet they're still going to be very good. So that's great. I also kind of like the idea of just the Patriots winning 5-7 games and Drake May not playing at all, because then it's just like you get 2 first-round picks next year because you're like, well, Drake is coming. So because I've never been in this position to like Mac he wasn't a top 5 pick. He was like later, like 15 maybe. I don't even fully remember. But having this hope is somewhat fun, and I think having the hope be like, well, their defense is going to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to draft a left tackle. They're going to then have Drake May in his first career game, and it's going to be like, oh, we have 2 top 5 picks because one of them is our quarterback we drafted last year, and ideally he's ready. But it's going to be like week 8 or something, which is fine. Yeah. Because realistically, I think he probably could have started it. Like, he's better than Jacoby. They still would have won with Drake May last week just because the defense played so well. They're just going to run the ball, which is fine. I love that. But, yeah, I'm excited just to, like, maybe be good at football again.
Yeah. Well, I love to sit here and chop up some football. I love talking football this time of year, but we are on a baseball podcast, and that's what we came here to talk about. But before we do, let's get some business taken care of. Right now, you can become an all-access member. Right now, it's the perfect time. Football's in full swing. I know baseball's rounding out, but we have more than just baseball content on that all-access membership plan. Discord is going crazy right now with the football stuff. You can get access to all our football rankings, weekly rankings, DFS and betting projections. You get custom league advice on our Discord, all that great stuff. Time to become a member today at fantasysixpack.net/plans. I'm not going to lie, it's been a few weeks since we've been together. A lot of things have been popping off mostly in your life. My life's been a little bit more on the boring side, but we've been missing out on a few things, and I think it's time to catch up on some things here.
Some baseball has happened.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff happening this year, even though my team's holding on by the thinnest of threads here to any playoff hopes. And hey, we just took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers. We may even be able to sweep them. We have a game tonight. So we were taking the first 2 from LA. PCA's becoming like just an all-star that we all thought he would become, mostly because of the defense and the speed. But we're not going to talk about those teams, our homer teams right now. First, I want to talk about some other big news. First thing that I want to talk about, what I'm most excited about, is Shohei Ohtani's, his
50-50?
His striving to get 50-50, become the first player ever. It's September 11th. We got about 20 games left, I think. And he's 4 home runs short and 3 stolen bases short of being the first 50-50 player in history. He's obviously been the best hitter in the league. I don't want to hear anything about this other guy from New York.
I have to take Jason. I don't know if you're referring to the guy in New York I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
Francisco Lindor is the MVP of the NL.
Okay, you think so?
Unless you were talking about Aaron Judge and being like, he's better than Aaron Judge, because he is better than Aaron Judge.
Yeah, I'm talking about Judge, because everyone likes to talk about how like Judge is the best player in baseball when it's Shohei Ohtani.
Yes. Okay. So I was talking about a different guy. Francisco Lindor is easily the MVP, and it really bothers me that he's not going to win it.
Right.
The Mets have been so fun to follow, mainly because of just the internet. There's a lot of there's Frank the Tank. There's a lot of internet fans, and it's just like the whole Grimace thing was fun. The Jose Iglesias just coming out with a song was fun. They have the Oh My God chains. They were everything. And Francisco Lindor has single-handedly brought them back through in May, their season was over.
Yeah.
And I would love for you to also pull up Lindor. I'm sure you already are. But it's just like he's been murdering the ball, and he's the reason that if Shohei Ohtani did not play for the Dodgers, they'd still win fucking 95 games. So
Right.
like this is not. I feel like I have this argument with everybody on every fucking when it's MVP, but it's not the best player in the league. It's the most valuable player. The only league that does this correctly is the NFL, that does the offensive player of the year, the defensive player of the year, and the MVP. Francisco Lindor is my MVP. And just like look at the 2-3 years ago, we thought Lindor's career was over, but like that, him going to the Mets was a disaster. And now he's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, he's on his way. Ohtani's going to get 50-50, but Lindor's on his basically knocking on the door at back-to-back 30-30 season. So I mean that's definitely, and like you said, he's been pretty much the lone bright spot on that Mets team that's fighting for the playoffs as well. I still think it's Ohtani for me, but I would not fault anybody because, like you said, if you're looking at a most valuable player to their team, it's definitely Lindor. Because, like you said, Ohtani, we've seen Dodgers are still going to win 95 games even without him. But if you can put up a 50-50 season,
yes,
you're going to be the MVP.
But even if Ohtani was out for the rest of the year, he'd still get the MVP, even if he didn't get 50-50. And I don't think that's right.
Yeah. And it's kind of crazy because they've been showing a lot of Ohtani's been throwing bullpen sessions. And he's basically right around that 12-month, 13th month of rehab from his Tommy John. So, however, it's his second of his career. So I don't know if they would venture out and give him some innings in the playoffs. But hey, when you're striving for a World Series, I'm not, he's been throwing bullpens. And can you imagine going 50-50 in regular season and then going into the playoffs and then just like pitching every 5 days for your team to go for the World Series?
At least out of the bullpen, that'd be cool.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be super sick. But I know we kind of briefly talked about MVPs. Before we get into the MVP and talk about all that stuff, I want to talk about right now. I feel like the bigger race here actually in some of these is the Rookie of the Year. Right now, the AL and the NL are both, I feel like, pretty close. There are a couple guys. I know for NL right now, Jackson Merrill is the clear favorite, but Paul Skeens is Paul Skeens, and he's doing things that people haven't done before. Right now, the current odds for Rookie of the Year for National League is Jackson Merrill minus 550 with Paul Skeens in second at plus 550. And I think the problem, too, is pitchers don't get as much love in the Rookie of the Year votes just because they're also qualified for Cy Young most of the time. Mm-hmm. But Skeens is on, I think he's one of only two players that have 150 strikeouts in his rookie year, him and the late, great Jose Fernandez. So that's huge. 100. And then when I was trying to remember when I was preparing for the show, when did Skeens make his debut? Was it like June?
Yeah, it might have been like late May.
Late May. He has 20 starts, and he's got 150 strikeouts.
Yeah, he's been awesome.
I mean, he's insane. But right now, Jackson Merrill's obviously the leading favorite. He's my Rookie of the Year for the NL. Currently with an 815 OPS, 23 home runs, 83 RBIs, which broke a Padres rookie record. 72 runs scored, and also has 16 stolen bases. For an MVP, not an MVP, a playoff team in the Padres. I mean, he's been everything more. We've been on the team since day one. He's been producing since day one, since that Korea series. He's been producing. Dude's just been everything.
So long ago.
I know.
That's crazy. I actually have a plus 1,000 ticket for Jackson Merrill to win the Rookie of the Year. I just threw like 15 on it.
Yeah.
And I totally forgot about it.
That's awesome.
Just because I have a bunch. So then this week I put, do you use Draft DK? Yes.
No, I use FanDuel.
Okay. So this past weekend, DraftKings did like a no sweat touchdown bet. So if you bet on whoever to score a touchdown. If they lose, they just give you $20 bonus bet. I put my $20 bonus on Paul Skeens to win Rookie of the Year, just so I'm winning something here.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't. So the only issue is I always think it's kind of like the Ohtani thing. Skeens is going to be a face of this league. Jackson Merrill's not. He's just not.
Right.
He's going to be
for sure.
Like like when Jacoby Ellsbury was very good, he was never going to be the face of the league. When Grady Sizemore was good for that like 2 years, he's never going to be the face of the league. But Skeens has legs, and in baseball really needs that type of exposure. So I feel like that could be a thing. Like you got Livy Dunn. Like there's just so much. It's very much kind of like a Travis Kelce thing too. Like your girlfriend's very famous as well. She's hot. Like let's get this guy. He's got the mustache. He's got the look. I think that some voters might be like, well, this is better for the game as if Paul Skeens wins it, especially because he's a pitcher. We haven't seen that in a while. Like it's just kind of like, but for my wallet, my bankroll, Jackson Merrill.
Yeah, no, you also great points. I know that MLB is always awful at promoting their players via nationally, I should say. Everyone knows locally who those guys are, but they're almost second to basically the NHL and promoting their players. But I definitely could see if Paul Skeens came out and win the Rookie of the Year, it would not surprise me at all. I think Jackson Merrill's just been doing it more consistently and on a playoff team, which we talked about with the Ohtani versus Lindor. Like he's on a playoff team where Skeens is not. So one could argue that Skeens is not a good enough player and it's like all those little nuances that the voters take into consideration. But again, I would not be surprised if Skeens. It's going to be a close race. Minus 550 is kind of crazy for Merrill. I was actually shocked. I would think maybe like plus 100 or something. Minus 550 is just crazy. I know there's only like 2 weeks left, and I think a lot of that also happening because Pirates have come out and said that they're limiting Skeens' innings. That doesn't help his case either. But minus 550 for Jackson Merrill on Rookie of the Year is just crazy. I would not be you're better off just going at 1,800 for Jackson Churio at this point, who's having a very, very under the radar season. He's shaping up to be another superstar in the making. Still only 21 years old, and if it wasn't for Merrill, it would be between Skeens and Churio because Churio got to a slow start where Merrill's been doing it all year. But if you look at their numbers, I don't have Churio's numbers in front of me, but I bet you his numbers are pretty close in line with a Jackson Merrill. And actually, now that I'm talking about it, I'm kind of curious. I'm going to pull up Churio's numbers and run it through real quick. All right. Jackson Churio's OPS 790 to Jackson Merrill's. I just realized they both have the same first name. Wow.
Yeah, and Jackson Holiday.
Yeah, must have been that age range, right? Everyone was calling their kid Jackson. Yeah. It is like the most popular name of the season. But yeah, Jackson Churio's OPS 790 to Merrill's 815. Churio's got 20 home runs. Merrill's got 23. The runs 70 to 72. The RBIs, let's see where the RBIs are at here. Probably pretty close. I mean, it's all pretty much right in line with Jackson Merrill, and he's getting no love. The stolen bases, Churio's got 20, got more stolen bases. RBIs slightly less, he's got 69, so like pretty much right in line. And the fact that he's minus 550 and Churio's plus 1,800 is actually insane. And Brewers are one of the best team in the league too. So I don't know, but you're better off taking your money and putting on Churio over minus 550 and Jackson Merrill.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. But we'll see.
Yeah, the NL one is going to be tight. The AL one not quite as much. We're pretty much down to like two guys, and they're not even that sexy names either. It comes basically. I have it down to Austin Wells and what do you know, another Baltimore Oriole and Colton Cowser. But these guys are also very close when it comes to who's going to do better. You see here, Cowser has way more appearances, so that's going to skew some of the some of our ratios. But yeah, I mean it's kind of a real tight race in the AL.
Yeah. So what bothers me is I understand that this is going to be my homer take. I have no idea where my fucking mask is. I need to find that. But Rafaela needs to be like somewhere in there. He has one of the best defenders I have ever seen. Center field, shortstop, second base. He's hitting better than I thought. I understand he's not doing great average-wise, but like he needs to be in the conversation. And I'm not saying that Colton Cowser's, that he's better than either of these guys, but I just feel like he needs some sort of love for it. Even like Wilyer Abreu, someone who I mentioned last season that was going to pay off. I'm just patting myself on the back with that one. But it was like I just need more of Red Sox love here just because they're not doing great right now. So I need just something positive. But like he's got 15 homers. This is Rafaela. Batting 253. Unfortunately, his OBP 282.
Yeah.
But his defense is so good. So I just think that he needs to be somewhere. I'm sure he'll finish in the top 5, but like I need like a top 3 finish from him, just like voting wise. That's all I got because I'm giving the Cows because fuck the Yankees.
Yeah, I'm looking at the current odds right now. It's kind of crazy. It's pretty much all in the AL East, which is also kind of crazy. But Austin Wells is the favorite at -140. Cowser's second at +160. Abreu's actually above, and he's actually at +3,200. Rafaela's at +20,000.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, no, he's been very underrated.
I know that they don't value defense like really, and other than Gold Glove, so it's really not that surprising. But I just needed to get my boy some love.
Yeah, no, for real. This one, I don't have much to get in the game on this one. I really don't care who wins. I don't really. But the only thing I will say is, when was the last time? I would have to look this up. Like, when was the last time a team won back-to-back Rookie of the Years? With if in fact Cowser does win this,
yeah,
with Gunnar winning last year, that'd be crazy. I don't even know last time the team has done that.
And next year could like Mayo could easily win it next year. Like,
yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. I mean, they have so much. They have such a crazy pipeline right now of young, promising talent coming up through that system. It could be like Cowser this year, Jackson Holiday next year, or like Kobe Mayo next year, something crazy.
Then Basalo, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Wow,
that'd be crazy. All right, well, those are our Rookie of the Year. That's a little bit of conversation like a Rookie of the Year. It's going to be a really tight race again, especially in the AL. We'll see what's coming down here. Now, one of these things we kind of hinted at Judge earlier. We're talking about Triple Crown winners, and this is possible this year. Judge is obviously one of them, but let's not forget we have 2 pitchers going for the Triple Crown right now, and that's Skubal and Chris Sale. Right now, Skubal leads the AL in wins, ERA, and strikeouts. Sale leads the NL in wins, ERA, and strikeouts.
I'm not talking about Sale, just so we're clear. So
the fact that he's producing like back to like, I mean, this is not even Red. It was definitely not Red Sox.
Sale, he's never been, Jason. This is better than he was with the White Sox.
Yeah, this is very close. Yeah. As far as like strikeout numbers go, it's definitely like is norm. But yeah, the wins and the ERA of obviously the wins are not going to be there in the White Sox, but this is definitely the best he's ever looked. Yeah, I mean, I don't know where everybody else ranked as far as I just looked up like where they ranked. I forgot to see who was in second and how far off they were, but Chris Sale could definitely he can come pretty close to 250 strikeouts and probably about 18 wins. Skubal with 16 wins and is crazy on that awful Detroit Tigers team.
Yeah.
That's going to be, I think, I forgot to see where he ranked, who was in second place with wins, but if Skubal can't keep up the wins, the Tigers can't keep up the wins, I could see him not getting it. Sale has every reason to get it because Atlanta's going to be able to get wins. He's been amazing throughout the year. It's not like he just had one good month. Every start he's had has been almost like a quality start every time he's gone out. But it's not just a pitcher. I saw this too. I was looking at the pitcher hasn't won a Triple Crown since Justin Verlander and Kershaw did it in 2011. Bieber did it in 2020, but obviously that doesn't count because that was like 60 games or whatever. But Aaron Judge, he's also on pace to try, not on pace, but he's very close to getting the Triple Crown. 51 home runs, 126 RBIs, 110 runs, 320 average. He currently ranks first in home runs, first in RBIs, and he's in third in average behind Vlad Jr. and Witt. You ever seen this thing about Aaron Judge getting the home run derby curse, but the home run derby via Paw Patrol?
I'm deep enough on Twitter that yes.
Yeah. This is hilarious. I guess maybe 2 weeks ago he appeared on some Paw Patrol episode where they did a home run derby. Shout out Paw Patrol. Shout out Chase. Shout out Rubble. Big time fan of the Paw Patrol, man. As a father of boys, I went and saw Paw Patrol live. Shout out Paw Patrol. Shout out Paw Patrol for giving Judge this curse here. I know someone that had to face the team in the playoffs with Judge and got absolutely annihilated. There was we do 2-week combined playoffs. There was a week, I think it would have been I don't know, it was a couple weeks ago. There was the weeks leading up to the Paw Patrol episode. I'm pretty sure Aaron Judge hit a home run every day, and it knocked me out of the playoffs. So shout out Paw Patrol for putting him on that home run derby, and shout out Nickelodeon. But yeah, I think the ratio is going to be hard. If it was some other guys that were in front of him, but we're talking about guys like Vlad Jr. and Bobby Witt Jr., which is also crazy because those are sons of former MLB players. I think they're just too good, especially Vlad Jr. I don't see him falling in the average department. He's had a super awesome season too, and a really great 5-tool player. I feel like what was that, a couple years ago when he had the 40+ home run season? Everyone was like, "Oh, he's going to be a power bat," and then he had a little bit of a down year last year. Really rebounded this year and been a very solid team. Very solid hitter. Again, not huge in the power departments, but I mean, just a 5-tool player that, I mean, from what we saw in the years past, I'm pulling up his page here right now. We can take a look at it. It's been great. He's been very, very productive in this season. Again,
still only 25. That's nuts.
It's crazy. Still only 28 home runs, but I mean, a 942 OPS. And then look at all the expected stats and all the the percent. It's all red. It's just it's been great. I mean, so I don't see him. He's batting 321. I think Bobby Witt was at 334 or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's going to take a lot when you get this many at bats in, right? You're talking about 627 at bats. It's going to take a few. 3 for 4 games for Judge and 0 for 4 games from these guys for him to take over. Yeah. So I don't think Judge gets it. But I think both pitchers, I think have a really good chance of getting Triple Crown. More Chris Sale than Tarik Skubal. But also a shout out to Tarik Skubal for being everything that, everyone's he's going to be, he's our dynasty ace, SP1. And went out there and proved it. I had some doubts.
Really I was not, especially that team still fucking sucks.
Right. I had doubts for sure. We're putting him up this high. Are we sure? And he's gone out there and produced at more than we expected. So, shout out to Tarik Skubal.
The Tigers just put up 6 runs in the bottom of the first. Who's pitching?
Right on cue.
The Rockies are pitching some guy named Gordon. Tanner Gordon.
Yeah, it's that time of year where it's these pitchers come up and who. But I thought we at least give us,
because Castellanos did hit a home run.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah. A couple of guys here. The other things that I kind of want to bring up too is just kind of some general guys that have been overperforming, which we don't like. First one's Corbin Carroll. Talk about a tale of 2 seasons, man. There was some leagues where, in shallower redrafts, people were debating on cutting Corbin Carroll as how bad his first half of the season was. I was actually able to buy pretty low on Corbin Carroll in one of my dynasty leagues. I'd have to look back in the trade. I could do so maybe when you're talking, but just real quick, since the All-Star break, it's been, like I said, a tale of two seasons. Since the All-Star break, he's got 14 home runs, which is up from 5 before the All-Star break. His OBP is a 343, which was up from an abysmal 301 prior to the All-Star break. He's got a 934 OPS, which is up from 635 at the All-Star break. Just a completely different hitter. I don't know. I mean, this is not super alarming that he's doing it again, but because we saw him produce so well as a rookie last year. But I don't know. I think this is kind of crazy. They finally to see him rebound and see him get back to where he was before.
Yeah, man. I was nervous about this one, like because we always talk about the sample size thing, and I kept on moving the sample size for him just because he was so good last year. I was like, well, it's only June. All right, it's only May. It's only July. Like, and then once that, I feel like that he really started coming on like after the trade deadline ish. I don't like no real. It's not like he's a guy that's like going to get traded anyway. But like that's just kind of where he's just figured something out or like made some sort of adjustment. I'm not incredibly deep in on Diamondbacks. Like I don't follow a lot of Diamondbacks beat writers. I get all my Diamondbacks things from fucking Goldie Happens or whatever his name is. That's 30 Rock, and he's never happy with them. But whatever. Unless Christian Walker, it's a home run. Anyway, not incredibly surprised. Very grateful because Carroll's a great player. His profile a lot. I mean, I'm not saying Jackson Merrill can be Corbin Carroll, but that's again, it's that peak center field, like outfield speedster that can hit, like the peak Jacoby Ellsbury, but not for 1 year, for multiple years. So I'm really just hoping that next year we get a full season of Corbin Carroll of being an elite player that I think he is.
Yeah, I mean, he's only 1 home run shy of another 2020 season.
Yeah,
won't quite get to 30-30. But I looked up the trade. It was back on June 8th. It's not quite a buy low as I thought, but for a rebuilding team, it's not bad. So I gave up. Follow me here. There's a lot of pieces. Most of it garbage, but we'll get into it. Gavin Williams. This is what I gave up. I gave up Gavin Williams, Garrett Mitchell, Aaron Nola, George Springer, Gavin Cross, Nolan Jones. And I got back Graham Ashcraft, Sal Frelick, Logan Allen, Joe Boyle, and Corbin Carroll.
Yeah, easy.
So it's like, a lot of those guys, yeah, Nola's having a great year, but he's also it's the even year. So I'm sure next year he'll be back to being ass. George Springer is basically 1 foot in the retirement. Nolan Jones fell flat on his face this year, so I'm happy with the trade. Not quite as low as I thought, but it was definitely a great buying situation on a guy that could be basically a top 5 dynasty asset. Still only 24 years old. I'm happy with the trade, especially because after pretty much
younger, honestly, like
I know, same.
It's easy to think he's a year younger than Vladdy, and like yeah. I would think of I think just because Vladdy's been up for so long, but. Very interested to hear he's only about a year. That's funny.
Yeah, for sure. We'll stick with the Diamondbacks here because I thought another one was really shocking to me, and more so like just the second half that he's been having, and that's Eugenio Suarez. We all know Suarez, huge power hitter. Had those years where he hit like 234 every year and hit 40 home runs. It was like the exact stat line for like 3 years in a row, and he was in Cincinnati or something crazy like that. But since the All-Star break, he's got a 991 OPS, which is up from 668. He's cut down on the strikeouts. The K rate's down to 22%, which is one of his biggest, negatives is the K rate. He always strikes out, right? But cut the K rate's down to 22%. He's got a 166 WRC plus, which is up from 87 prior to the All-Star break. He was one of those guys too where people were dropping him in redraft leagues. Like, this guy is a bum. He had like 5 home runs or something, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but he caught fire and has been
on the juice. Like, to be completely honest,
I would not be surprised.
He hit 2 bombs today.
Did he really? See, yeah. I mean, it's
4 for 4 with 2 home runs, a double, a single, 4 runs, and 2 runs batted in.
Yeah, he's back up. He got 28 home runs. That
Oh,
may not even.
that's
Now he's
wild.
got. I think he's got 30 now. I don't think that counts to that happened today. So I think he might have 30 home runs
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very impressive by
So if you were one of those people that picked him up off of the waiver wire, because I know, when I was doing the waiver wire videos for the website or for the YouTube channel early in the season, he was one of those repeat guys that was on there every week because nobody was picking him up. He was hovering around like 20% owned. It was crazy to be available in 80% of the league, and now he's looking like he could possibly be a league winner. If he's putting up this kind of performance late in September, I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, that was that. When you just said he hit 28, like obviously aware he hits home runs, had no idea he was even flirting with 30. I assumed he had like 15 just by like how poor he was at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, because he was definitely not even rostered. And again, I was talking to you, I was like probably like rostered in 20% of the leagues back in like May and June. So I thought that was a good, interesting name that could be a league winner here going forward. Another guy that I want to kind of spotlight and talk about real quick, since we haven't had much time, we're getting close to the end of the season, and this is a guy that has just basically burned so many redrafters, and that's Wyatt Langford of the Texas Rangers. I remember we sat here and talked in draft season of an ADP, I think of like 80, if I'm not mistaken, 80 to like 100. And he has definitely not lived up to that. I mean, don't get me wrong, he was hurt a lot, but even before getting hurt, I mean, he looked lost at the plate. As of right now, he only has 10 home runs, 63 RBIs, 58 runs scored. Does have 14 stolen bases, but this is not the profile. I mean, this is not the statistics you want from a top 100 pick in a redraft league. Now, obviously, Dynasty, you're not doing anything with him. You're holding him. I would not sell. I would obviously try to buy low. But yeah, I don't know. I thought this was kind of shocking. We basically get a full season here with Wyatt Langford and just did not live up to the hype in his first rookie year. Now, that doesn't mean he can't. There's always the same old adage, right? Like prospect pedigree and progression is not linear. There's a lot of times the guys will come up and they struggle, and then in a year or two, he's the number top 5 hitter for the season. So
like Jarren Duran, best player on the Red Sox current, well, Devers, but same type of thing. Yeah, man. So this is going to be kind of a cop-out. The Rangers, Evan Carter was trash this season.
Yeah. He was hurt a lot too.
He was also hurt. If you have a full season of Wyatt Langford being what his ADP was, not even saying exceeding that, so not giving him like 30 home runs and whatever, you could point to Carter's struggles and Langford's struggles and just they could be in the playoff hunt if they were even like decent. Langford was fine, but like 10 home runs, no. Like you wanted at least 15, 20. And that's the difference in games. So between Carter and Langford, I'm out on Carter. I don't even think he can hit his opposite side. I think he can't hit righties, I think it's righties. He cannot hit them at all. Like that is awful. I could hit better than that because I would just get on base with walks.
Yeah, but neither of them are slugging over 375. Carter's slugging 361, and I think Langford was at it was even worse. It was like 320 or something slugging.
And they're the same age. And again, it's like a matter of next year Carter could be great. Next year Wyatt Langford could be great. But it's just kind of like they both really struggled. They both kind of got called up a little bit too early, maybe. Like, I understand there was pressure with the Langford one just because there were reports last summer being like, they might bring him up for the World Series. He's going to DH for them. Like, no.
Yeah.
So I think they were just kind of like, well, we have to bring him up. And they did. And this year wasn't awful, but it wasn't good. So hopefully getting a full summer in with the both of them can really just kind of get better. But I'm definitely not selling Langford, but Carter, I think, might just be bad at he's just like a platoon bat, which is fine. Teams do need those, but coming into last year, I think we had a bigger bigger hopes.
Yeah. Correction. Langford is slugging over 375. It's 385 still. Not even slugging 400 on a guy that was supposedly going to, hit a bunch of doubles and home runs. To slug only 385 is definitely disappointing, and definitely not live up to his 85 or 90, 100. It was definitely top 100 draft ADP back in the beginning of the year of Redraft League. All right, before we get out of here, though, I want to spotlight. I got a Down on the Farm here.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
I wish we, cue the Dave music. Down on the farm. I'm going to talk about here for a minute. Chandler Simpson out for the Tampa Bay Rays. He's getting a lot of love right now.
Stolen bases.
Yeah, 102 stolen bases in 108 games. Depending on where you look, he's definitely a top 15 ranked prospect in the Rays organization. However, a little bit more of a rabbit. Only has 1 home run, but he also has 102 stolen bases. But does have a 140 WRC plus. He's batting 356 with an 812 OPS. Got a 1-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. A little bit of a slap hitter that likes to, a lot of opposite field tendencies. I would love to see him get him up here and see what at least he can do in the majors. He's at AAA right now. What's the point? You might as well just bring him up and see. The Rays aren't playing for anything. I don't know what to fully expect from this guy. That's why I felt like I should shine a spotlight on him because he's getting a lot of love right now for those 102 stolen bases at the minor league level, which is always fun. Even at the high minors. This has all been AA and AAA. So it's not is that low A? So the only thing that worries me is a little bit of rabbits. Rabbits are hard to trust when it comes to fantasy baseball.
Yeah, just because they rely on getting on base.
Yeah,
and believe it or not, hard to get on base in the major leagues.
Yeah.
So, that's a fun one. Definitely going into next year, I'm sure there's gonna the whole Victor Scott thing was crazy. People were drafting him being and there's been another one too, like Billy Hamilton, but there was another more recent one.
Class A was a rabbit. He came up and just absolutely fell flat on his face.
Yeah, you just gotta really get on base.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Maybe there'll be a time where there's just specialists and on base special. If they stealing bases is super important, especially in this MLB, this current iteration of where baseball is. But they're not gonna be well, you can steal bases. You made the team. You need to be able to hit.
Right. Exactly. I thought it'd be fun to put a spotlight on him here for our random Down on the Farm we haven't done in a while. So. Yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. It was good to be back in the saddle. Hopefully, get a couple more episodes here in before the end of the season.
I'm down. Maybe
I want to do maybe do a prospect stash.
Yep. Let's wait for the awards to come out because I still have all of our.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll follow that up. I think those usually come out I think they was announced. It's baseball's so annoying. They do it randomly. 1 week they do MVP, and then the next week they do this. It's dude, just all sports should do the same thing. They should have this big award ceremony, kind of like the ESPYs.
Yep. Just do it at the ESPYs.
Yeah. Would be great. I don't understand why they don't do this. It would be so fun. Why my wife always gets down on this Grammys and Oscars. Do it on a Sunday night, MLB award show. What's that?
I said the Video Music Awards are tonight. I'm going to be watching them with my wife at 8 p.m.
See? All you got to do is, man, just get something like that. It'd be so fun. Make some more awards, do a couple of random, obviously, and then save the MVP for the end. It'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a different topic for a different time. But all right, Nick.
Jason.
Exactly. We'll talk next week.
All right, big dog. I'll see you.